You can play the tape back if you like.
I agree with the fact that the Muslim world should have the Islamic system. Yeah, I didn't say I agree with it. I don't use words.
You
like
want
that
full
about
Sharia
people.
law for this country?
For this country, I'm working for, our group works for Islam, the restoration of Islam in the Muslim world.
What about here?
We work to uphold Islamic values in our personal life and in the Muslim community.
Do you want Sharia law here or not?
I would love, you know what?
You'd love it?
No, I tell you what. In this last 2 months, one of the strangest things has been where people here have been looking at the people in Gaza and they've been going and looking and reading the Quran. And they've been looking at it, and I'd invite you and your audience to do that.
Just to clarify.
I would do that.
You would like Sharia law here?
And they are not convinced by these neocon
Would you like Sharia law here?
tropes and caricatures of Islam, are they? As you'd expect, going on a show like Piers Morgan, where he has a huge number of followers that like channels like Talk TV, and when he presents shows that rally the mob, you're going to get an awful lot of people online which are going to start targeting you with offensive, insulting, neocon, right-wing, Islamophobic tropes. But actually, perhaps the enlightening thing for me, which has been really quite humbling, has been the extraordinarily positive reactions that I've had, and it really has been very, very humbling. I was not expecting that. My phone's barely stopped buzzing for the last 48 hours. My people messaging me on various social media platforms, being very grateful and very kind about the fact that I said what I said and the way I said it. And even really very hearteningly, quite a few non-Muslims posting up. But, you know, Piers is the kind of guy that divides opinion across societies.
Yes.
And you know, there are going to be people that love him and hate him. And I think, and there are going to be people sitting on the fence. And I think an awful lot of people even sitting on the fence, you don't have to be a Muslim to watch that exchange that we had over about 15, 20 minutes to see that that was a pretty unjust approach to any of your guests.
Actually, I don't think... all I've done is ask you straightforward questions.
Yeah.
You've revealed your beliefs in the answers.
No,
yeah, you have. You may not even realise what you've done, but you have.
I believe in Islamic law, and I don't believe in the caricature that you try and present of Islam.
Would you like Sharia law in this country?
I would love to see you want Sharia law in this country.
I don't want Sharia law in this country.
Well, that's your wish.
But you would.
Yeah, but
would you?
I believe it's the best system, but
So
I'm not working.
Would you like it in this country?
I'm not working.
Yes or no?
I believe in Islamic. You know,
yes or no?
You know, the Islamic civilization
yes or no?
was the only civilization.
You'd be very quick to answer everything else. Yes or no?
The Islamic civilization was the only civilization that brought peace to the Middle East for Muslims, Jews, and Christians. I would love to see that system there. Wouldn't you like to see a system?
Who pays your salary?
Wouldn't you like to see a system?
Who pays your salary?
So I've been really heartened by the number of non-Muslim people that have sent positive messages or said positive messages online. So, alhamdulillah, maybe that's the only enlightening thing of the last 24, 48 hours, really.
Well, you've joined quite an illuminated list of guests that have appeared, whom he calls pro-Palestinian voices. For example, Bassam Youssef, Normal Finkelstein, Gabor Mate, obviously Mohammed Hijab, who's very famous in Britain and now is getting an international profile. Dr. Abu Leish, who came on yesterday, along with Abdullah Al-Andalusi, amongst others that have been on there. Well, did you feel that you went onto the show knowing the types of questioning that he would be giving to you and also expecting the type of responses you got from him?
I guess so. When I was contacted by his production team, I asked what they wanted to discuss, and they said Gaza, Palestine, something to do with the demonstrations in London.
Yes.
And it'd be interesting to talk about the fact that you're a doctor. And by this stage, I'd already had quite a lot of media attention from the Mail on Sunday, Sunday Times, The Sun, various outlets over the last few weeks that have been having a dig to my response to which has been, let's talk more about Gaza and Palestine, because all of these digs, whether they're at me, maybe I'm a bit more high profile than some other people but you will know that there is a tactic out there to scour through people's social media feeds and find pro-Palestinian sentiments and report them to their employers. And, I've spoken to lawyers that have had literally dozens of clients who are in the health service or in academia who say that people who old social media footage of them wearing a pro-Palestine badge, and people have been targeting them in their jobs. So we can see this as a tactic in a proxy war on pro-Palestinian sentiment.
I find it amazing that respected journalists like yourself have seemed to have suspended their critical faculties.
No, I'm believing what Hamas wanted me to see.
Well, you're believing what you saw.
What Hamas themselves broadcast to the world because they wanted to take great glee in what they'd done. There's no ambiguity about it.
I asked you to let me finish, and I'm going to...
You've got to answer questions.
I will answer the question. Let's agree on a principle. If atrocities were committed, right, I will never condone them, right? I will say that.
So do you condemn what happened on October the 7th?
If atrocities are committed, you know who's
responsible? What do you mean if? No, they were.
Who's responsible for it then?
So you don't condemn it?
Okay. Who is responsible
the Jews brought it on themselves?
No, actually, I would say more than that. I would say the powers that believe that Israel should be a colony for themselves in the Middle East, they are the ones responsible.
Do you know what? I'm really struggling. I've got to be honest with you.
I think when you go on a show like that, you always hope to persuade people, and you hope even to persuade somebody like Piers. The point is, though, he has an audience, and he has an audience that hears his narrative regularly. I don't watch his show regularly, but like many people out there, I've seen clips of some of the most high-profile shows that he has.
Yes.
And what you can see there is that there is an audience attracted by that. Many people in the UK and across the world, many of them Muslim, many of them not. And almost every interview he has, he puts forward what his view is. So like you, I've heard this conundrum that he has been wrestling with for the last 2 months. So as the death count in Gaza has gone up from 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10, 15, 20,000 people, I actually very early on wanted to say to him, 20,000 people out of a population of 2 million is basically 1%. And I can't recall a conflict in which 1% of the population has died in 2 months in my lifetime. If you extrapolated that to the UK, that would be about 650,000 people. If you extrapolated that to the United States, that would be about 3 million people. So I wanted to put that up front early on.
We're in a situation now, Piers, where 1% of the population of Gaza has been killed in the space of 2 months. 1% of the children of Gaza have been killed. Anywhere else in the world, you yourself called for military intervention in Ukraine by NATO with probably less legal and moral cause than there is in Gaza. When we stand...
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Because
So you think that when Vladimir Putin illegally invaded Ukraine, the moral right of Ukrainians to respond is somehow equivalent to the moral right of people in Palestine after October the 7th to do the same. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that the people of Ukraine have actually one of the most powerful armies in the region.
It doesn't change the fact they were illegally invaded, does it, Doctor?
The people of Gaza have nobody helping them.
Well, they do. They have Hamas. They have a terror.
They have nobody helping them.
Hang on. They have a terrorist organisation called Hamas.
If you want to know my strategy was I will go in measured, balanced with my arguments, and I will take I will see what his responses are. And very early on, it became apparent he has an agenda. That's what I suspected. That's what I have no doubt about. I'd hoped maybe that Allah will turn his heart, but that wasn't a really that wasn't a reason to go in. I'm mindful of the fact that as a carrier of dawah and activist, my job is to deliver a message, and it's to try and make that message carry as far as it can.
Okay.
I can't change somebody's heart, can I?